Let's delve into the latest from Donald Trump's campaign trail, where he once again stirred up considerable controversy with his remarks, this time directing them at Vice President Kamala Harris during a rally in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. As we all know, Trump has a long history of making headlines with his off-the-cuff comments, and this event was no exception. His ability to dominate the news cycle, often by straying from the expected narrative and engaging in rhetoric that some find entertaining while others find alarming, continues to be a hallmark of his campaign style. But before we get into the details, hit the subscribe button, like this video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. At this rally, Trump began by addressing Kamala Harris's recent appearance on the cover of Time magazine. Rather than sticking to conventional campaign topics, Trump veered into a discussion that seemed more suited to Hollywood gossip than political discourse. He compared Harris to classic film stars like Sophia Loren and Elizabeth Taylor, insinuating that the magazine's portrayal of her was overly flattering, almost as if the artist had taken liberties to enhance her appearance. This is a typical Trump tactic, using humor mixed with critique to make a point that is both memorable and provocative, ensuring that the audience remains engaged and that the media continues to focus on him. However, Trump didn't just stop at commenting on the Time magazine cover. He took it a step further by making a bold comparison between his own looks and those of Kamala Harris, declaring that he is much better looking than she is. Now, on the surface, this might seem like a lighthearted joke, but it quickly became a topic of intense discussion among both his supporters and critics. The crowd at the rally responded with laughter, and some Trump supporters took to social media to praise his humor. One even quipped that comedians could learn a thing or two from Trump, given how effortlessly he blends comedy with political commentary. But as is often the case with Trump's remarks, not everyone was amused. Many critics expressed their dismay online, arguing that Trump's comment was not just unnecessary, but also disrespectful, particularly given that he had previously complimented Harris's appearance in a way that seemed to compare her to his wife, Melania. For context, let's recall that Trump had earlier commented on Harris's appearance by suggesting that she looked so striking on the Time magazine cover that she reminded him of Melania. This previous comment adds another layer of complexity to Trump's latest remarks. Some critics pointed out that if Trump is now claiming to be better looking than Harris, is he indirectly suggesting that he's also better looking than Melania? It's these kinds of convoluted and often contradictory statements that keep Trump in the headlines and at the center of public debate. But this isn't just a story about Trump's opinion on physical appearances. It's a reflection of a broader pattern in his campaign strategy, where personal attacks often take center stage over policy discussions. During the same rally in Pennsylvania, Trump also criticized the media's portrayal of his speaking style, accusing reporters of unfairly labeling his speeches as rambling. In Trump's view, these accusations are baseless, and he took the opportunity to remind the crowd that he's a really smart guy. This defensive posture is a recurring theme in Trump's rallies, where he frequently positions himself as a victim of media bias, rallying his by portraying himself as someone who is unfairly targeted by the press. But let's not forget, Trump's comments about Kamala Harris went beyond her looks. He also mocked her distinctive laugh, a trait that has often been highlighted both positively and negatively by those who follow her career. And then there's the issue of her name. Trump has a history of mispronouncing Harris's name, and whether intentional or not, it's a tactic that many see as part of a broader effort to diminish her stature and credibility. This time, Trump pronounced her name as Kamala, a subtle jab that many perceived as another attempt to belittle her. Trump's penchant for personal attacks isn't limited to Harris, though. In recent weeks, he has also directed harsh criticism at other political figures, including Montana Senator John Tester. During a rally in Tester's home state, Trump made a series of derogatory remarks about the senator's weight. What makes this attack particularly noteworthy is the fact that Tester has a physical disability resulting from a childhood accident. Despite claiming that he doesn't mock people for their physical conditions, Trump immediately contradicted himself by making disparaging comments about Tester's size. This kind of inconsistency is a hallmark of Trump's rhetoric, fueling both the unwavering support of his base and the intense criticism from his opponents. So why does Trump rely so heavily on personal attacks? One reason might be that it allows him to dominate the conversation and ensure that all eyes remain on him. By making provocative and often inflammatory statements, Trump guarantees that he stays at the forefront of public attention, both in the media and among his supporters. However, there's also a strategic element to consider. By focusing on personal jabs, Trump can steer the conversation away from policy areas where he might be more vulnerable. Instead of engaging in substantive policy debates, he shifts the focus to the personal flaws or perceived weaknesses of his opponents, effectively reframing the narrative in a way that plays to his strengths. But this approach comes with significant risk. Even within his own party, there are growing concerns that Trump's fixation on personal attacks could ultimately harm his chances in the election. Some of his allies have publicly and privately urged him to stick to policy discussions, especially on issues like the economy and immigration, where they believe he has a stronger argument to make. Senator Lindsey Graham, a prominent supporter of Trump, has even suggested that Trump's showmanship might not be enough to secure a victory in the election. Instead, Graham and others are advocating for a more disciplined strategy that focuses on policy debates, where they believe Trump has a better shot at winning over undecided voters. As the 2024 election approaches, Trump's campaign strategy, a mix of policy discussions and personal attack, remains a double-edged sword. On one hand, it energizes his base and keeps him at the center of media attention. On the other hand, it risks alienating swing voters and other key demographics who may be turned off by the negativity and lack of focus on substantive issues. In the coming days, Trump is expected to continue his campaign blitz across several key battleground states, with events scheduled in Pennsylvania, Michigan, North Carolina, and Arizona. The big question is whether he will be able to maintain a more disciplined message or if he will continue to rely on his tried and true method of mixing policy discussions with sharp personal attack. What's clear is that Trump's approach, whether you love it or hate it, will remain a defining feature of his campaign as he seeks to win back the White House in 2024. As always, I'm eager to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think Trump's strategy is effective in rallying his base, or do you believe it might be alienating potential swing voters? Let's discuss this in the comments below and see where this conversation takes us.